Ghostbusters Afterlife is getting a mostly positive, but also a bit of a mixed review online since its a real full official trailer has been released on Monday. And so I wanted to talk about one of the main things that is being criticized about the trailer, and that is just simply the fact that so many people are drawing an A to B comparison between Stranger Things and Ghostbusters and saying that Ghostbusters Afterlife looks like it is a total ripoff of Stranger Things. And I'm making this video to tell you that that is a stupid argument. And here's why. Stranger Things, what is it about? It's about a group of middle school or junior high aged kids in a small town who get drawn into a mystery dealing with the paranormal. One of their friends disappears. They discover this mysterious young girl who starts hanging out with them, who has psychic and telekinetic powers. Turns out she was, spoiler alert, responsible for opening this rift between dimensions and caused the whole problem to begin with. And then they have to figure out a way how to overcome this evil and save their friend and get everybody back together again. And there you go. Fantastic show. I love Stranger Things. I'm a big fan of it. I've enjoyed each of the subsequent seasons that have been released. I in no way mean to talk down on Stranger Things. It is a great show. It's one of the best science fiction shows that has been out in the last 4 or 5 years. It's fantastic. I love it. I would be super happy if they just ended it with season 3. I know we're getting to season 4. It's probably going to be awesome, and I may regret having said that. But I got to the end of season 3 and just thought, maybe this should be done. Maybe don't push any further. Kind of like Arrested Development. Maybe they should have just left Arrested Development at 3 seasons and not created more. But that's a different conversation altogether. So there's the overview and the synopsis of Stranger Things. Then we take a look at what we know about Ghostbusters Afterlife, which is very little. We had a teaser trailer back in January of 2019, and now we have, in December of 2019, we have the first full-length trailer. Some people are calling it a teaser trailer. I don't know how you can call a 2-minute and 38-second trailer a teaser trailer. This really gave us a lot about it. But what do we know about Ghostbusters Afterlife, right? Okay, so we have some kids that are in the junior high or middle school age range that are forced to move to a new location and discover in their grandfather's home relics, artifacts, or other things that start to cause a mystery with them that they get interested in. What is this all about? And they start to walk down a path that leads to the adventure that they're about to undertake. Aside from the paranormal and the age range of the characters that we're looking at, I don't see any other parallels going on there. I get that in season 2 of Stranger Things, the characters dressed up as Ghostbusters, and now one of those actors is in Ghostbusters Afterlife, and that's a very easy A to B comparison to make. But in season 2 of Stranger Things, it took place in October of 1984, and surprise, in the summer of 1984, Ghostbusters was released in theaters. So of course these kids in that show would have been all about being Ghostbusters on Halloween. It made perfect sense. It's just that comparison between Ghostbusters being featured in Stranger Things and one of the actors being pulled over and starring in this film that I think it's a really easy line to follow, even though it's stupid. So, what does Ghostbusters Afterlife actually look like? Let's give credit where credit is due. And that would be The Goonies. The Goonies was this story about these kids, same age range. They climb up in the attic. They find these relics from their parents and grandparents that have been stashed away. This stokes interest, pushes them into an adventure that they couldn't have previously imagined, which ends up being the film. Yeah. So if Ghostbusters Afterlife turns out to be more of a Goonies influenced story or a Goonies ripoff put in the Ghostbusters world, count me in. I'm good on that. I love that. If you think that Ghostbusters Afterlife looks like a ripoff of the Goonies, that's a fair argument. That's a fair criticism because it does look like it's a ripoff of the Goonies. You can't just lump it all in. And it's kind of like, man, what's the most recent thing that was popular that had middle-aged and junior high students having some adventure in the paranormal? Stranger Things. It must be a Stranger Things ripoff. Now, it's stupid. There's no connection there. It really is thin. That's really thin. But if your complaint is that Ghostbusters Afterlife, its initial trailer, looks like a Goonies ripoff, and that's a complaint, and that's something that you're upset about, argue that, because that I won't get upset about that. It doesn't matter. You have a point there. Ghostbusters Afterlife does look like a Goonies ripoff set in the Ghostbusters world, and I love it. I think that's great. I think that's perfect. I think that's exactly what they should be doing, passing the torch, highlighting the original characters, having them as a part of it. This existed in the same universe, and now, boom, over here, Goonies Adventure, awesome. Because really, what was Ghostbusters? What was Stranger Things? What was the Goonies? What were all these films that we loved? Flight of the Navigator, all these films that we loved. Those of us that are now reaching middle age, that we loved from the 80s, from the 70s, from the 90s even. If we're gonna try to recapture that, shouldn't we try to enjoy recapturing that in a way that we relate to it, our kids are going to relate to it, and we can all enjoy it together as a family? Family films, family fun, family. Yeah. I'm on board. Afterlife looks fantastic. 100% there. Not a Stranger Things ripoff. If anything, a Goonies ripoff. Give credit where credit is due. That's all I got for you. Be good to one another.